big old fat guy who, yeah, I worked out, but I was fat. I didn't run, didn't PT, I just hit the gym.
Yo, what's going on, guys? Chances are, if you saw the intro of the YouTube short, I'm sure you're interested in how I created it step by step, so let's get right in. So the first thing before you even start editing is make sure you go to settings right over here and make sure your timeline resolution is set for 1080 by 1920. And then you also want to select this use vertical resolution so it can be formatted in this TikTok YouTube Shorts format, so you're actually able to upload it. And then make sure your playback frame rate is 60 frames. Scroll all the way down and make sure your retime process is at nearest, motion estimated mode is at standard faster, and motion range is set at medium. Okay, so now once you have the clip imported into the project, the first thing we're gonna do is change the color correction of the whole video. So to do this, we're gonna drag in an adjustment clip, just like that, and we're gonna stretch it all the way so it covers the whole clip. And then now we're gonna right click the adjustment clip, click open in Fusion page, and then now we're over here, we're gonna click Control space on our keyboard and search up CC, color correction, click add. There will be a pop-up on the right side of the screen. You wanna go to saturation and just lower it down all the way. And then for contrast, we're gonna upper it a little bit, something like that, 1.2, 1.22, that should be good. Go back to the edit page now, and now we're gonna do a slow zoom from somewhere around here to the end to just add a little bit more of impact onto the clip. So I'm gonna start it around here. Make sure you have your clip selected. It obviously depends what clip you're editing, but if you want any of these clips, just look in the description. There will be a Google Drive folder with all of these files, so you're able to follow me step by step. So we're gonna start over here. We're gonna keyframe. I already have this keyframe, but I'll just show you guys. Make sure you have it keyframed by just clicking this dot. It'll be gray originally, but you just want to click it so it turns red. And then now you want to go to 5 seconds, 59 seconds, or wherever you want to stop the zoom, and just keyframe it again and switch the zoom to 1.050, just like that. And then if you play it back, you'll see it zoom in. I'm not going to play it back just because it'll be a bit laggy for me, but you can do it on your end and you'll see how it adjusts. And now we're going to start actually adding our images and making it more and just making it better. So we're going to open up our folder where we have all the stuff. Again, like I said, it's in the Google Drive folder, posted in the description. We're going to drag in this folder, this picture right over here into the timeline. So I already have it, so I'm just going to drag it right on top. We're going to place it on this timer right here, bookmark, which is 28 frames if you guys are interested. And then we're just going to cut it right over somewhere over here, just like that. And you guys did see the transition that we're going to be adding onto this image later on, but for now we're going to animate the other images, and then we're going to move on to the transitions and then the sound effects at the end. Okay, so for our first animation, we're going to drag in a Fusion clip right over here and cut it before our next animation, which will be 5 seconds. Delete the access, right click on the Fusion clip and click on, actually before we do that, we'll add all the other Fusion clips. So what you can do is hold Alt on your keyboard and just drag it beside and just stretch it until the next point of the animation. Do the same thing again, drag it, just do that and cut it. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna right click on our Fusion clip, click open in Fusion page. Now we're in the Fusion page, so we're gonna click the background node, attach the background. We're gonna click Control space on our keyboard and search up the merge node, just like that. So click on our background node once again, put the alpha all the way down to 0 so it's transparent. And now we're gonna click Control space and search up transform. Put that, connect the node onto the merge. And now we're gonna add the image. So head over to the file tab and just drag in the, I think it was the running PNG. So we're just gonna drag it onto our page just like that and just connect the node to the transform. And then make sure you have the transform selected. We're going to increase the size to about there, 3.03, a little bit more, just like that, 3.1. And then we're going to click Control space again on our keyboard and we're going to search up camera shake, add that. We're going to set the X deviation to around there, Y deviation right there, rotation 0.047, randomness we'll put it 0.55, overall strength somewhere around here, speed we'll increase the speed somewhere right there. We'll increase our X and Y deviation somewhere about there, and increase the randomness and overall strength a little bit. Okay, that should be good. If you guys want to copy these settings, they're right over here, so just pause the video and copy them. Now we're gonna actually animate our image. So make sure you have the transform node selected, go to the start of the fusion clip, keyframe the center, and then you wanna make sure it's off the screen to begin with. So just go all the way down, somewhere right over there, 0.65 negative, and then go to the 15th frame, keyframe it, and just bring it up right about there should be fine. Negative 2.429. Actually, we'll put it around 1.9, just over there. And then we're gonna go to the end of our clip, and then we're gonna go 15 frames back. So 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 15. Just like that. We're gonna keyframe it once again, go to the end of the clip, and just bring it off the screen, just like around there. That should be good. And now if you play it back, as you can see, it's an animation, but it's not very smooth. We want it to be as smooth as possible. So to do this, we're going to click our spline right over there, check mark the transform, and just zoom out so you're able to see both of the keyframes, just like that. Select both of it like I just did and click on spline. We're going to drag this one right about there, and we're going to drag this one a little bit back, just like that. And then we're going to be doing the exact same thing for the other side, except it's going to be opposite. So this one's now going to be all the way there, and then this one's going to be a little shorter. Now if we play it back, as you can see, it's much more smoother than what it was. But before we're done with this clip, we're going to click settings, motion blur, and then we're going to apply the quality up to 4. So as you can see, it adds a cool little motion blur. Let it load. As you can see, it makes it better. It makes it more visually appealing. Okay, so we're done with this clip. Now actually what I said about these two fusion clips, you just want to go ahead and delete both of those clips. Sorry. Now what we're going to do is we're going to click hold alt on our keyboard and just drag it beside it. And then we're going to extend it onto the end of the clip where we want it to be. What this does, it basically copies the original fusion clip to another one, so we don't have to do all the work all over again. So what we're going to do is right click, open in fusion page, and we're going to basically adjust this. So instead of this image, we're going to delete it, and then we're going to select the PT one right over here, and just drag it onto, make sure the nodes are selected. And now we're going to hold on, we're going to click on our transform node, and as you can see, the size is a little bit too big, so we're going to lower the size just like that. And then everything else seems fine, the position seems fine. But as you can see, if you play throughout the video, it starts going down in the middle of our clip. We don't want that, right? We want it to stay until the end of our clip. We want it to go down from here all the way to the end. So to do this, instead of deleting all the keyframes, what we can do is click on the keyframes tab right over here. We're going to make this a little bit bigger so we can see the transform. Click the down arrow. We're going to zoom in a little bit. So as you can see, the keyframes right over here. So this is where it goes down. So we want the clip to start going down on our 43rd frame. So what we're going to do is select both of those. Make sure both the keyframes are selected. Just like that. And just move it just like that. So as you can see, it moves to our end of the clip and then it drags down. So if you play this back, it's much more cleaner than what it used to be. But for this one, we don't want it to be a little bit too bright. As you can see, it takes off the emotion of it a little bit. So we're going to go back in the fusion page, have the camera shake selected, click control space on your keyboard, and just search up CC and add the CC. And what we're going to do is turn the saturation down a little bit. Somewhere like that should be good, 0.58. And if we go back, it's a little bit more soothing for the eye, since it fits the tone of the background as well. Now after we're done that animation, we're going to click on the first fusion clip, hold alt, and just drag it again. And as you can see, it fits perfectly, so we won't need to adjust the keyframes. We'll just need to adjust the pictures and maybe the size as well. So we're going to delete the original picture, head over to our file folder, and just drag in the image just like that. We're going to connect the nodes, and as you can see, it's a little bit too big. So what we're going to do is we're going to make sure you have the transform node selected. We're going to lower the size somewhere like that. Seems good. And as you can see, once it zooms in, right, it stops over there. We don't want that. We want it to come a little bit higher. So what we're going to do is we're going to change the y-axis. We're going to increase it just like that, so it comes a little bit higher. and we'll stop right over here. Now if we play this back, it loads into the screen, or it comes into the screen, and then it goes back down to our original state where it was before. We don't want that, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna copy our y-axis where it was, and we're gonna go to our 28th frame and just copy that there. So if we play this back now, it comes into screen, it stays, and it goes back down smoothly. But again, we're gonna want to adjust the color correction, so control space, color correction, add, and just lower down the saturation to somewhere around there. That seems good. Now that we're done with all the effects, we're gonna start doing the transitions. So we're gonna head over to our file folder, and you want to drag in the burn 2. So just like that on top of our image. Make sure you have the burn selected. Go down to composite mode and select add, and then we're gonna go to the frame where it covers it the most, so right over here, and we're gonna place a bookmark so it's easier for us to check. And then we want to place this bookmark at the start of our image, so we're gonna move it and place it right over there, and there we go. If you play this back, it's pretty smooth. And then for the end transition, what we're gonna do is we're gonna drag in the, I'm pretty sure it's the outro, yeah, this one, out transition into our timeline once again. So once it's into your timeline, you want to do the same thing, change the composite mode to add, and just mark the point where it's the most. It should be right over here. Just play it back once again to just make sure. Yeah, so it is. So again, just drag the bookmark onto the end of our image, and then if you play it back, it's pretty smooth. So that's pretty much all for the transitions, and now we're gonna move on to the sound effects. Or we'll add the music first. So what you wanna do is just drag in this music right over here, and just put it onto our timeline. So it's a pretty long file, but I'm gonna tell you guys where you wanna cut it. You wanna go around to 4 minutes and 12 seconds. Cut it and delete the access, bring it back, and then you just wanna cut it at the end of the clip, so just like that, cut and delete that. And we're gonna change the volume. We're gonna change it to negative 15.6. okay, and now we're gonna move on to the sound effects. So I recommend putting your music down a couple of tracks just so it doesn't interfere with the sound effects. I would put it at A4, somewhere around there. And now we're gonna zoom in. So the first thing we're gonna add audio or transition or sound effects for is it's gonna be this burn transition. So for this one, you're gonna want to go in your file folder and drag in the camera shot sound effect. You want to zoom in a little bit more and just go to where the start is, so right over there. The access, delete it. We're gonna change the volume to negative 10.6, and we're just gonna line it up to the beginning of the bookmark, just like that. Or no, I'm sorry, we're gonna mark it at the beginning of our, okay, yeah, never mind. And then now for the out transition, we're gonna add another sound effect. It's gonna be the transition bass, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, so what we're gonna do, we're gonna lower the volume down to -9. We're gonna lower it down a little bit more, -11. You can just see what works for you the best. Okay, and then we're just gonna align the middle somewhere around there, just like that. And then you can just cut the axis of the clip. And now we're gonna add some nice clean whooshes to the rest of the images or animations. So we're gonna drag in the main swoosh. We're gonna lower this down to around -11. I'm just gonna mark the bookmark. This is like the center of it, and we'll lower it down back to -10. And then you can just play around with the timing to see what works best for you. And we'll clear out the access a little bit, fade it out. And we're basically just gonna hold Alt, select, and we're gonna do it for all the beginning of the other images. So we're gonna need to bring this down a little bit. We're gonna move this back a little bit more. Hold Alt to drag it one more time. Again, just test around with the timing of your video if you're not doing this exact thing, but just make sure it's timed correctly, because sound effects, they're pretty underrated and they matter a lot. So that's pretty much it for the DaVinci Resolve editing part. Now we're gonna move on to captions, and we're gonna be using CapCut for this, so I'll see you guys there. Okay, so now we have our clip into CapCut. We just rendered it from DaVinci Resolve. Make sure you don't have the clip selected right now. Click on Modify. Instead of 30 FPS, we're going to bump it up to 60. Click on Performance. If you don't want it to lag, you can do this, otherwise you don't have to do this step. But if you are laggy quite a bit on your PC or whatever you're on, just enable this, lower down the resolution to 520 for less lag as possible. So now what we're going to do is add the caption. So make sure you have the clip selected, head over to Text, click Auto Captions, put the language you want to put the captions in, and click on Create. Now, as you can see, it added the captions, but we're only adding captions to a small part of the video, as you guys saw in the intro. But what we're going to do is make sure you're on templates, make sure you have the caption selected, and then from basic, just click on templates. And then you want to scroll down a little bit until you see this one right over here and just click on it. And as you can see, it'll apply to all. Make sure you have that selected as well, so it applies to all of the captions. But we don't need this part, so we're just going to delete it. And this is the exact point where we're going to add our captions, 2 seconds and 17 seconds. So you can just drag it just like that. And then we're going to head over to basic. We're going to change the text to what it said in the captions. Okay, and we're going to shorten it. So if you want to copy the exact increments of the captions, the starting point of the caption is 2 seconds 17, and then the end is 3 seconds 27. So we're going to adjust the size now. We're going to head over to make sure you're on text under basic, font size. You can change it to whatever size you want. I'll change it to around here, and we're going to center it right around here under his chin. If you also want to change the color, and so you can always do that by clicking on the captions, going down to color. You can play around with the color. You can go down here, play with the opacity, the transparency. You can change the outline, background, glow, shadow, all of that stuff. You can also add a nice curve if you want. A glow would be pretty cool, but for this tutorial, I'm going to try to keep it a little bit more simple. So we're not going to add that, and that's pretty much it. So if you want to render it, just make sure everything's done. Go to the top right corner, click on export. Name the file to whatever you want. I'll just name it to Shorts Final or whatever. And then now make sure the resolution is on 1080p. Frame rate is on 60. And then you can just go ahead and click on export. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys do want more tutorials like this, similar to this, maybe if you want a different software, leave whichever software you would like me to make a tutorial in the comments below, and I'll see you guys in the next one.